What is up, guys, and welcome to Season 2 of F1 22 Career Mode. It has arrived already, but to bring you guys up to speed as to what happened last season, let's just go over it briefly, shall we? We created our own Formula 1 team. We got off to a flying start. We got some early points finishes. At Hungary, we nearly won the race. One lap away from winning and nearly got disqualified in the same vein. Very next race, we got a podium. Then we sacked off development to focus on Season 2. Aston Martin caught up to us, and we had the battle of all ages for 8th place in the Constructors, which we won, by the way, but it wasn't helped by all the DNFs we had over the course of Season 1. And now here we are, in Season 2, ready to kick things off all over again. Unfortunately, right at the end of Season 1, Oscar Piastri decided he didn't want to renew with this team. His reasoning was, we had the slowest car in F1, and he wanted something that wasn't a backmarker. But I told him many times, Oscar, we're building for next season, but he didn't have faith in the team, so he's departed. I don't know if he's gone to another team. We're going to find out that in due course over the course of this episode. But I would imagine he does have a drive lined up for Season 2. Why else would he leave? So interested to see where he's landed. We also need to find a replacement for Oscar. My intention was to have faith in a young driver and keep them there for the entirety of this career mode series. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen now, but I would like to get Oscar back. So that's going to be a tricky one. So we'll see where we go there. Sorting out sponsors. Lots of things to do in this episode. We need to sign a teammate. We need to design a new car. We need to showcase all of our facilities. We need to do upgrades. We've got 10,000 resource points to spend ready for the start of Season 2. So thankfully, we have a bit of time before the first round of the season. I'm not going to reveal the calendar just yet, but know that we've got a bit of time between winter and race 1. So that's good on our front. Gives us more time to recover. Now, this is the end of Season 1 that you're watching now. We're just tying up loose ends and just showing you guys the final upgrades we are applying to the car heading into the winter break. And, well, it just makes sense that we get these out of the way now because we've got so much time between now and the first race. So it makes sense to pile them on now. The upgrade path is quite linear on F1. You can't do the major and ultimate upgrades without doing the minor ones first. So that's what we're doing. And we're also quite limited with the amount of upgrades we can do simultaneously. So we can't leave it all till the last minute until our facilities are upgraded at the start of Season 2. If we do, then there's a risk that we might not get all the upgrades we want to before the first race, because we have a massive bank of resource points, but yeah, if we can't get them all on, then that's a problem. So just getting that out of the way early. Here is us going through the trauma of trying to sign our teammate and getting rejected. Lovely stuff. Oscar no longer with the team. So yes, we need to find a replacement, and this is where we start, in the driver market. So we got 4.78 million to play with after well, before we get the final season bonus. Bit stupid, I know. I wish we'd get the bonus and then have the money to play with a potential driver for next season, but that's the way it's made, basically. We could potentially get some of these free agents like David Coulthard, Felipe Massa. Nico Hülkenberg is a really good shout. He's the ultimate super sub in Formula 1. But there was one man who sent me a message. Mark Webber, Oscar Piastri's agent. He was the first on the case. He was the first one to know that Oscar was leaving Marduk Motorsport. And Mark Webber, like a thief in the night, has slipped in there and has got himself a cheeky little offer for Marduk Motorsport. And you know what? It looks like he's going to be in Formula 1 once again. Mark Webber has made a comeback to the sport after 9 years. After leaving Red Bull, he is now in the sport once again and will be driving this pile of poo that we call the Marduk Motorsport car. But we're doing our best job to turn that around and make a very competitive package. Unfortunately, there we had a couple of failures, so just addressing those. Unfortunately, the department is maxed out. So let's just chuck on as many upgrades as we can. Heading towards the end of the season now. This is the 15th of December. We had a engine upgrade fail. That was for the ERS. Then that's a major upgrade that will be done in time for the first race on or after the 1st of March. Finish the season, and that should be season 1 all dealt with. The final thing that we're going to do is a build time upgrade for the durability. And there we go. We now head into Season 2. We get some big bonuses there for driver and team acclaim. It's going to push us over level 15 towards level 16. We also signed a new secondary sponsor. We have a third secondary sponsor on board now. Don't know if you guys caught that earlier. We got 11 million at the end of the season, 4 million for finishing in 8th in the Constructors, and that pushes our total to over 12.5 million. So that's the funds, that's the resources we have to play with at the start of Season 2, and they're all going to be going towards facility upgrades, making everything Spec 2 if I can. Before we get to that, it's time to negotiate the calendar. We go from Team Boss mode to FIA President. We get to decide the calendar, apparently. We are very powerful, it seems, in our second season of career mode. But what I've done here is I've removed the first 2 rounds of the championship, Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. We will be starting this season in Australia like it always should have been. We're heading back there for Mark Webber's return to the sport. We've removed France as well. Japan originally wasn't on the calendar. We had to get that on, and it is now there. So that's the calendar. Hopefully you enjoy. And if you're upset that your favorite race wasn't included, we'll be cycling through and doing different ones in Season 3 and 4. Now, time to sign a sponsor. We don't have any real-life sponsors to sign. They, as well, do not have any faith in us. We're having to sign some pretty low-down brands at this stage, but this is on a short-term basis. I'm hoping that as we show potential throughout this season, we'll be able to bring in some pretty big brands and really level up this team. But for the moment, it's going to be quite low at this stage. DSP Optics is going to be our new sponsor. They want 3rd or better in the Constructors' Championship, and that is a pretty lofty goal to try and achieve. So we're aiming high with the hopes that we can do that, but we're certainly not going to be the 3rd best car right from the outset. We signed with Red Bull Powertrains for the first season. That was with essentially a Honda engine. We're not going to be going with those guys again. The durability proved to be very costly, and it's going to be even more costly or more important in this season where we're going to be more regularly in the points. So durability and performance is of utmost importance. Cash, not so much. So we're going to put the cash towards a reliable but powerful engine, and so far that is Mercedes. So DSP Optics, Mercedes, and Mark Webber is the combination we're going to be running with for Season 2 of this career mode. But now it's time to look at the driver market and the driver transfers for Season 2. Oh my word, it's Oscar Piastri, the first cab off the rank. He has gone to Williams, the 2nd slowest team in Formula 1, so not much of an upgrade for our former teammate. Robert Schwartzman has gone to McLaren, so McLaren have changed drivers there, it seems. Guan Yu Zhou going from Alpha to Alpha. Nice move. Yuki Tsunoda stays put at Alpha Tauri. Then we have Ocon and Alpine. George Russell has been demoted from Mercedes to Haas. He had so many crashes last season, so he's been kicked out of the Works Mercedes-Benz team. We then have Albon and Aston Martin. Sergio Perez, wow, at Mercedes. Kevin Magnussen. Oh, Fernando Alonso's gone back to McLaren. Carlos Sainz still there. And Lando Norris has gone from McLaren to Ferrari to continue the bromance with Carlos Sainz. Charles Leclerc has gone from Ferrari to Red Bull. Daniel Ricciardo to Alfa Romeo. I'm losing the plot here. There's too much going on in such a short amount of time. Alan Prost has gone nowhere. He is still firmly in retirement. And Lewis Hamilton right at the top there at Mercedes. That is your grid for Season 2. Charles Leclerc at Red Bull. Oh my word, there's so many changes. That's That's nuts. That is absolutely crazy. Normally, I get shafted when it comes to driver transfers in career mode. Nothing ever happens. But that right there, we've seen more transfers from Season 1 to Season 2 on this game than what I did for the entirety of my career mode playthrough on F1 2021. I'm not complaining. I'm definitely not complaining. There are many storylines there. Former McLaren teammates now at Ferrari. Daniel Ricciardo demoted to Alfa Romeo. We then have George Russell kicked out of Mercedes after all of his crashes in Season 1. They wanted a more reliable peddler, and now they've got Sergio Perez there. So Mercedes looking very good for a potential Constructors' Championship once again. They're trying to fight back at Ferrari, who romped both championships last season. Anyway, Nico Rosberg unfortunately getting in the way there of our car, so we can't see what that looks like, but I will do the car reveal very soon. In the background, we have been upgrading many of the facilities, which you're seeing on show now. Very, very shiny, very good. Arab still hasn't been fired from our team. Why haven't I done that? We've had far too many failures, so let's hopefully get rid of him. And maybe the reliability will be better. But anyway, it is time to unveil the new look car for Season 2. We've gone for a completely different look than what I've ever run before. Hope you like it. Boom. That is the whip for Season 2 of my team. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I think this car, or this look, might be a bit Marmite. We've gone for Australia's national team colours, green and gold. We've also thrown in a bit of black there just to help stealth out the car a little bit. Black also makes the car go fast, literally, in F1. So, controversially, it kind of looks a little bit like a South African flag and a Jamaican flag mixed together. I just thought I'd put that out there before the comments kind of rinse me for it. But it's a nice combo. I like the transition of yellow to gold right at the rear three-quarter of the car, and a bit of black thrown in there. It makes it look really nice. I think things will be changing as well with this car, with of course the sponsors as well, as we prove that we are meaning business in Season 2. Depending on sponsor wants, they might want to change the appearance of the car. I imagine, or I want the color scheme to remain the same, bit of green and gold, but the livery itself, the design itself, might change. But we'll wait and see. If you guys love it, maybe it'll stay. Regardless, let's make this car go fast now if we can. We have 5,000 resource points. Make that 3.7 as we do a major drag reduction upgrade. We can also do a major rear downforce upgrade and also a major front downforce upgrade. Just making sure we can get those on before the Australian Grand Prix, the first race of the season, and yes, we can. 30% failure chance all round for all three of those components. 2,000 resource points to spend now, and I think I'd rather put it on downforce than ERS. We've already done 2 ERS upgrades in between Season 1 and Season 2, so I think let's just make this car fast. We should be able to get away with ERS now in this new season of career mode with those upgrades on. Fuel efficiency, we could potentially do that in the next week when we get more resources coming in. So that is 10,000 resource points spent just like that. It goes quickly in this sport. Unfortunately, no major discounts for those major upgrades. So we had to pay full price for those, and let's just make sure that they do go on the car.
We had a major issue on the production line earlier this week, so the entire development package for this weekend has failed.
Very good.
Any redevelopments will need to be ordered from the
Very, very good. Thankfully, those were all minor upgrades. That wasn't the major trio of aero upgrades. We can do another upgrade to the facilities. I'm a little bit blown away by that. 3 failed upgrades in one day is not a good way to start Season 2, it has to be said. So we lost the tyre upgrade. That's a minor one. We can fix that in time for the Australian Grand Prix, but we don't have enough points to do so. We're going to have to fast forward time, get in more weekly resources. which we have now. Further 240 points come in. We have a marketing department event. What is this?
We need your input here. Not an easy choice, I know.
We're choosing a rival. Sergio Perez is at McLaren. Lando is at Ferrari. Those are two front-running teams. We're not going to compete with those. McLaren, still very, very fast, but the slowest of the three. So we're going with Alonso.
Thanks for dealing with that. The department appreciate it.
Kind of been shafted there. We're still the slowest car on the performance index, and we're getting paired with the top three teams. What's going on there? Anyway, we now fix the failed tyre wear upgrade. That'll come on in a week or two's time. More weekly resources coming in. Thankfully, we have from, when did we start? Like March? We go all the way through April, and I think it's mid-April we have the Australian Grand Prix. So a lot of time to fix up these upgrades. We had a durability failure, which was for the MGUH. That only cost us 19 points, so that's absolutely nothing. We can also do an MGUK upgrade by virtue of the fabrication upgrade, which we did for durability, so we can do 2 upgrades per department. We've also had an engine failure upgrade. Does anything else want to fail while we're at it? And really put me in my misery. Minor fuel efficiency upgrade, no biggie. 180 points, still on for the Australian Grand Prix. Now, we don't want these to...
Production line earlier this week.
Just kill me. 3 major upgrades have failed. Actually, every upgrade we have put on this car for Season 2 is gone. And these were major upgrades. These are the ones that are really going to sting. It costs 825 resource points to re-put it back on the car. That's like 3 weeks. 4 weeks worth of resource points just for that one major upgrade. We've got a 2 further ones to do now, and that's really put us on the back foot for the start of this season.
Alright, welcome to the new season. I think we've done a pretty good job protecting our development gains through the regs change, so the car should be pretty decent. But get out there and let us know how it feels.
Are you serious? You're the head of development, and you're saying we've done decently over the winter? Did you just turn a blind eye for the last 5 minutes? Every upgrade has failed, and we had to do them all over again, which is it's cost us already heading into this race. We did manage to get a few upgrades still on for this race, but it's really going to affect our development over these next 2 or 3 races while we're fixing upgrades which should have gone on today. Only a 30% failure chance, and we've lost all 3 of them. That is absolutely devastating for the start of our season, and we are still the slowest car in this field. Not good. Not good at all. But thankfully, even over the winter break, even with all of our failures, we made the most ground heading into Season 2. So we're close to the pack, but we're still not where we want to be.
Let's get a few laps under our belt.
It's fine though. We are rolling out now for our first session of the year. The Australian Grand Prix, a lot of home support here, so let's see if we can do something with this car around this newly made racetrack. It's 2023 now, so this circuit, I suppose, this layout isn't exactly new anymore, but it's still new to me, and that's all that matters. But yeah, we're going to continue to develop the car, guys. We are getting resources in at a much more accelerated rate than what we were in Season 1. So the recovery, I hope, should be better than what it would have been in Season 1. So we'll have those major upgrades on the way in time for Imola, which I'm really looking forward to. Mark Webber hasn't lost it, has he? He can still drive. He got P4 in Practice 1, only 4 tenths away from the pace setter of Fernando Alonso in the 3rd best car. Daniel Ricciardo up there in P2, so a good day for the Aussies. Not so much for the new guys. Myself and Piastri, we were last place, and pretty much as we were at the end of last season. But some interesting form in this season of career mode starting to present itself. But that was only Practice 1. It was the less relevant session to be out there and setting times. Practice 2, but also qualifying, which is coming up now, will be the more representative session, and we can truly see where we sit in this performance index. I'm hoping that on track with us driving, and especially with Mark driving, we'll be able to outperform where this car is sitting right now, and we'll be able to beat one or two teams, one or two drivers, and then move forward in the race from there. After all the resource points earned in practice, we can do another major upgrade. We're going to go for the front downforce, and that will go on in time for the Imola GP. It might be line ball as to whether we can get the rear downforce upgrade on, but we got the two more important upgrades, the front downforce and the drag reduction. We'll try and get that rear downforce on next episode, so stay tuned for that. But it's time for quali now. For the Australian Grand Prix, we are just about close enough to the midfield to make an impact. All right, here we are for our first race, first proper qualifying session of the season, and now we truly find out where we stand compared to some of these guys. I'm excited really to see how Mark gets on. Also, Oscar Piastri as well. I hope that we can beat him in this race. I'm not salty. Definitely not salty, but it would be nice to get one up on him in this first qualifying session, and especially the race. So let's see what we can do. Max Verstappen currently setting the pace. Is it going to be a Mercedes or will it be a Ferrari season of dominance? We'll have to wait and see. Yellow flag through the middle sector. Not too sure what that was about. We also have Red Bull, who look pretty ominous as well. We can't underestimate Red Bull. They've got Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen lining up for both of those cars. And we have a cheeky little spin. Very relevant. Lost the front wing. Absolutely fine. We still got 13 minutes to go in the session, and that was on a second lap. I was distracted by a slower car, but that's, there's no excuse. We see what Oscar can do in his first run in the new car, and he goes P7 with a 1 minute 16.7. That is certainly faster than what we did. He's gone, P7, and only 3/10 ahead of Daniel Ricciardo in the Alpha. You can see us, we are, nearly 9/10 back. It's Mark Webber in the car for his first run, and he's coming out of the last corner. He's going to be cheered on massively by the home crowd. Suiting very nicely with that yellow helmet in this green car. Across the line, he does a 16.6, and he trounces Oscar Piastri. So the investment in Mark Webber so far has actually paid off. He's pretty pacey in this car, massively outperforming where it's currently standing at this stage, and that is actually really encouraging to see that Mark Webber coming back straight into the sport in this car right on the pace. And thank you, Alonso, for blocking me on what was going to be my second lap in a row. Absolutely not happy about that. That's really screwed up our run plan. We're going to have to do another cooldown lap and then go again. But then that puts us at risk of not getting a time in at the end of the session. But I think this is a pretty quick circuit now, so we might be able to do both. So let's see if we can do another lap on this used set of soft compound tyres. Here we go. We charge up the battery. We're pretty low on fuel, but we're going to give it a red hot go anyway through turn 1. Mount the curb quite a bit. Very easy to get caught out with that exit curbing on the left-hand side there for both track limits and also spinning out. Australia is pretty notorious. It is pretty brutal this year for auto spin curbs. Anyway, we did improve over our previous best, only by a 10th though. We lost 2/10 in the third sector compared to our previous best run, so we can definitely go faster here at the end of the session on a brand new set of soft compound tyres. Can we get ourselves out of Q1? We're currently in P18 and ahead of a Ferrari of Lando Norris, so we're not faring too bad at this stage. Checkered flag has now flown, and this is the lap we need to deliver on. P21 for the time being, only ahead of Yuki Tsunoda for now. Carlos Sainz is in the danger zone there in P19 as we're up by 700ths of a second as we head into sectors 2 and 3. This is the part of the circuit where we lost a bit of time on our previous lap as our used soft compound tyres were dying off, so these new softs should be able to hold out fairly well. Quite brave there under brakes as we head into the fourth to last corner. A lot of time to be made up there, and I have to say I probably wasn't braking as late as I should have been in Season 1. We've addressed that now for Season 2. Out of the last corner, and we're up by 2.5 tenths as we approach the line. We are in last place right now. We cross the line. Do we stay in last place? I'm not sure, but Mark Webber has progressed through to qualifying 2 and only 9/10 away from pole position. So that's a magnificent performance for the Australian returning to the sport for the first time. Oscar Piastri moves through to Q2 as well, and we miss out by 0.4 of a second. It is P20 on the grid. We out-qualified a Ferrari and a Williams of Gotifi. So it's a very close field spread this year. Only 1.5 seconds from the fastest to the slowest driver. It is insanely close. So that gives me a lot of hope and a lot of promise for this season that with some upgrades and the major upgrades we've got coming next race, it will make a sizable impact. Webber in P13, incredible effort from him. I can't understate that. I can't overstate that, how good of a performance that is in his first race back. He's immediately delivered that return on investment for $4 million to hire him. He's really, really outdriven the performance of this car, which is a little chunk off the Williams. So there we go. Webber might move to acclaim level 12. It's time for the Australian Grand Prix. We've got 4 Australians on the grid. Let's see if one of us can get glory.
Months of rumour and speculation all come to an end today as we return to racing for the opening event of what promises to be an enthralling season. Welcome along then to round 1 of this year's Formula 1 World Championship. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position with Charles Leclerc alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Perez, Fernando Alonso and Ocon, Gasly, Schwartzman, Webber and Alex Albon, Joe, Stroll, Yuki Tsunoda and Russell, Mick Schumacher, Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo, Magnussen, Benjamin, Sainz and Nicholas Latifi. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. A new season then, a clean slate where anything could happen. Natalie Pinkham is with me today as we get another year of Formula 1 underway.
We're into those tense few minutes before the first race then. Everyone's a little bit nervous about reliability. They haven't been running in the hot, turbulent wake of other cars in practice. They've not been pushing at 100% for long durations. Let's hope no one has to deal with any nasty surprises.
I know this is your home Grand Prix, but treat it like any other race. Let's not make any unnecessary risks.
Yes, let's not do that, shall we? But yeah, I can't believe that. I didn't realise earlier, we've got 4 Australians on the grid. We're turning into the British, we're turning into the Germans. There's normally a lot of those guys in the field. It's an Aussie takeover now. But let's see if we can break the curse. Mark Webber getting into Q3 and qualifying in P9. Even if I want Oscar Piastri, I think I should keep Mark Webber for the rest of this season now. He's driving phenomenally at this stage. But we still got the race to come. Hopefully Mark can drive the pants off that car and bag our first point of the season. I'm going to do my best job as well to bring it up from the rear, charge my way through, be a rear gunner for him, maybe, and bring home a point if I'm very lucky in this race. Mark Webber is certainly not a number 2 driver anymore. He is perhaps the team leader now at this current stage, and it's good to have his experience on board. He's going to be increasing the resource points for us week after week in the practice program, so not a terrible result losing Oscar Piastri. But it's time for Season 2 to get underway. The Australian Grand Prix is underway, and as always, it's a terrible start. New season, new car, same old Tiametmarduk. Heading into turn 1, Piastri is in P19. We try and go around the outside of him, and we actually managed to pull that off with a phenomenal move going onto the grass. Somehow that's legal. We still had a tyre inside the white lines. Someone lost their front wing through turn 1. I'm not too sure who it is. We got the inside of Stroll, or at least I tried to think about it, in turn 3, but I had to back out of that one. Go around the outside of Ricciardo in the Alfa Romeo. That's a weird sight to see. Daniel Ricciardo at Alfa. Oh.
Tyre condition still looking good.
Okay, car is fine. I was a little bit worried about floor damage. Ricciardo runs wide and into the Toodles there, and that's put him back down to P20 in this race. That is Kevin Magnussen. It's going to take me a little while to get used to all the drivers at these new teams. That is not Alonso. It is Kevin Magnussen. His Carlos Sainz up the inside into the third to last corner. Of course, still, it's a new season, but the AI is still going for those same old silly gaps. Maybe that'll be addressed soon, or maybe they'll get even crazier as this season wears on. Anyway, Carlos Sainz at the inside, heading into turn 1, trying to settle into this race, and I don't want a Ferrari all over me for the rest of this Grand Prix. So we're going to let him go, and we're going to crack on with our race and hopefully run with him. Quite bold of me to assume that I could run with a Ferrari on faster tyres, but here we are. Maybe they'll do an extra stop compared to us in this race. Piastri catching up to me before getting overtaken by Magnussen now. Lando Norris into the pit lane on his soft compound tyres. That's a very early stop for him, so we will be seeing a 2-stop from the former McLaren driver. And here we are in P16 catching up to our green rivals, Aston Martin. Here goes Magnussen up the inside on those soft compound tyres. There's no point fighting that. He is very, very quick in that car compared to us. And I got a lot of understeer leading into that corner, which carted me wide and invited Magnussen into the party. Here's George Russell, newly demoted from Mercedes, now in the mix with us in that Haas. That must be so demoralizing to go from a championship winning car, a car that was winning races last season. Mercedes weren't able to get the car good enough to win a championship in season 1. Now they might be in season 2 and George is not there to capitalize on it. So he's back down to back Markerville, unfortunately. But he is in P13, doing really well. Weber has fallen back a little bit in this race. He's in P15. We go around the outside of Magnussen and our teammate holding one tyre onto the grass there as we go round the outside into the fourth to last corner. Magnussen gets up the inside of Stroll. I get re-overtaken by Weber. And now here comes Piastri out my inside. It well and truly is an Australian reunion back here. As we can see Stroll going very slowly. He might be pulling into the pit lane. He does. As does my teammate Mark Webber. He's into the lane. So it's not looking like a good race for the Australians, and especially so with Oscar Piastri clouting the wall at the last corner. It must be said, there is an Australian Grand Prix curse which strikes the Australian drivers, and that is it right there. Piastri in a wall. Mark Webber going for an early stop, changing his wing. He's going to be last in this race. And speaking of last, Daniel Ricciardo on circuit is in last place right now. Tell me the Australian Grand Prix curse isn't real. Because that is proof in the pudding right there. And as well, if you want to say, Ben, where's your curse? Where's your bad luck? Did you see all the failed upgrades heading into this race? We should have been a midfield car. Yet we're at the back. So the Aussies are cursed. And this is the proof in the pudding right here. Lovely stuff. Must be nice to be British. Must be nice to have your countrymen win Silverstone 7-8 years in a row. Must be nice. Must be nice. Must be nice. I can't complain though. I'm sure there are many people from many nations who don't even have a Grand Prix driver or a Grand Prix race, so I will stop my complaining now. Fighting side by side with Pierre Gasly in the AlphaTauri. It's a miracle that AlphaTauri were able to retain Gasly for this season. He should be retiring in a few moments' time. Someone who is retiring, though, is Lewis Hamilton. He's pulled off from potentially the lead of the Grand Prix. He is out of the Australian Grand Prix, and that could bring about a safety car in this race. We'll have to wait and see. It was from the lead for Lewis Hamilton, and now Max Verstappen inherits the lead from Sergio Perez. A long way behind in P2 there, but even further behind is third place of the other Alpine. So, wow, this is turning into quite the spicy race. It is Esteban Ocon in P3 with a McLaren putting pressure on there for those minor podium positions. I believe that's Fernando Alonso. I can't imagine Robert Schwartzman jumping straight into that McLaren and challenging for a podium. But I have seen stranger things. Anyway, Gasly up the inside. I mean, at this point, it's not even worth fighting this position. We're going to get it back later with a failure of some kind. Gasly giving us absolutely no space at the second last corner. And here's the replay, side by side from the helicopter shot. He just turns in like we're not there and pretty much folds in on our front wing, which was not nice. But he gets the position anyway. Very aggressive there from the Frenchman. Tyre wear's getting on a bit. 24, 25% on the front tyres. Make that 26 as the load is just getting shifted to the front end. Maybe too many lockups, leaning on the front tires too much. Either way, the rear tires are not the ones wearing out so much on this new layout. So interesting to note there. Anyway, Norris is in P10 with the fastest lap of the Grand Prix against his name. He's absolutely flying in this race, as is Charles Leclerc on a new set of soft compound tires. He has to bide his time for now. It looks like a two-stop race for the AI here. This is very interesting strategies. If anything, I thought the two-stop would be a thing of the past with tyre upgrades, but how wrong I'm turning out to be. The safety car's been deployed for pretty much nothing. No one has retired. No one's gone off circuit. I can't see any debris anywhere, but maybe someone did lose a front wing somewhere. It is very easy to run wide and into the wall, apparently, at the last corner, so that might have potentially happened. Anyway, Leclerc and Norris are into the pit lane, and while that's happening, we try and get a cheap pass on Pierre Gasly, who was going slow while going past the safety car, so I thought maybe we'd be able to nab that one for free, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. Out comes Leclerc and Norris in their new cars, new teams. That is such a strange sight to see, and interesting to see as well. Leclerc had the number 1 on his car, despite changing teams, despite being the game where normally, if you win the championship as an AI, they don't get the number 1 in previous games, but I think that's new for this year. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, double stack for McLaren. Schwartzman had to stack behind Fernando Alonso. We made use of the free pit stop, going onto a set of hard compound tyres. Mark Webber had an early stop, but he's coming again under safety car, and we are going to rejoin behind the Alpine of Magnussen, but ahead of Charles Leclerc. So that was quite fortunate for us there. So it's P11 for the remainder of this Grand Prix. There are maybe 1 or 2 people who need to make another stop in this race. One of them being the the Aston Martin of Alexander Albon. I believe he's leading this race, but still needs to make another stop. So that's an interesting play from Aston Martin, holding up the 2 leaders there. We've got an AlphaTauri in the mix. I'm not too sure if Gasly hasn't stopped. He's going for an alternative strategy here. Maybe they're opting to finish on the soft. We'll have to wait and see, but the safety car is coming in at the end of this lap, and there's potential for us to get some points in this Grand Prix with people similar performance to us up the road and other people who haven't stopped yet. So as long as we can keep the likes of Zhou Guanyu behind us, Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, a lot of fast drivers, Mark Webber, Piastri, we might be on target for points, but that is a massive if. We've got to get these tyres up to temperature and get in the rhythm, stay in the DRS of these faster cars ahead, and then hope that we've got enough straight line speed to keep these guys at bay. Here comes Leclerc into turn 3. In the end, didn't get past us, heading into this very fast right-hander. Leclerc has missed the mark there, had a correction, and lost a lot of momentum. That allows Zhou Guanyu to fly on through in the Alfa Romeo, but Leclerc fights back on this back straight, a really long back straight at which as well. He has the inside for the fast left-right chicane, but Zhou Guanyu holding the inside, running wide with understeer, and that allows Leclerc to take the position. And unfortunately for Albon and Gasly, that strategy has not paid off. A very untimely stop a few laps after the safety car has put them towards the back now, and we're in P9 in this race. Carlos Sainz coming in again on, is that hard compound tyres he's on? He's on hard compound tyres, so he's got damage in that Ferrari, it seems. Meanwhile, there's a yellow flag back here. That's Zhou Guanyu going straight on into the gravel trap. So that's not good for his race campaign. He will not be getting any points today, and he was looking pretty good for potentially a P10 there with only him being behind me. That's now out the window as we see Norris catching up to us. We're catching up to Mick Schumacher and Magnussen, who are having a bit of a squabble here on lap 17. We've got our second warning for track limits, so we won't be getting the sponsor bonus in this race. One more of those, and we'll be getting ourselves a 3-second time penalty. And that'll be really costly. We want to avoid that in this race if we can, because we're on target for points in this one. And with how slow we are compared to some of the big boys in this sport, we might have a train on us towards the end of this race, and that could put us outside the top 10 once everything plays out. So we're holding on to the DRS, we're holding on to the slipstream of Schumacher for now, just about keeping Norris behind, but I think it's only inevitable that he's going to get us as a yellow flag in Sector 3. And this is Carlos Sainz doing a Zhou Guan Yu. What's going on with these guys? Is there debris? Is there oil? Is there wind, which is unsettling those guys and chucking them in the gravel? I don't know, but there's certainly quite a few mistakes happening in this race. And there's another one. Lando Norris running wide and nearly doing a Leclerc at that point. Thankfully for him, though, he holds on to the position. Stroll 3.4 seconds back, unable to make the most of that. So we have 9 laps to go in this race, guys, and we're looking pretty good for some points here. Currently P9. Even if Lando gets us, we still will get 1 point in this race. There is Fernando Alonso. We were just focusing on screen. He's 6, 7, 8 seconds up the road. He's also got his teammate for company there in that train of cars. Massive snap there for us. Lando goes around the outside heading into the second last corner. Might have got some front wing damage there. He looks like he's unsettled a little bit, especially with the balance of that car. A little bit of oversteer a couple of times through that last corner. But now he's on the charge, and I think he will get us this time with DRS. Round the outside. We'll leave him the space, but unable to make the move. Stick around the outside. Wasn't brave enough under brakes, so we hold on to the position for now. We've lost the DRS to Schumacher, and ever since losing that DRS, our pace has been nowhere, with the tyres dropping off as well to couple with that. As we see Lando around the outside again into this corner. He's got to try something different at a different part of the racetrack, because we are going to defend that all day long. It's a very tight corner as well. Very difficult to overtake around the outside. It's very easy for the inside car to just brake super late, hug the apex, and keep the position. But this time, Lando does make the move stick, but he had to do it on a car that already overtook him earlier. So Lando made a mistake. He dropped behind Stroll and that Williams, gets back past them, and now he'll be on a charge to get us. But no, someone's in a barrier. It's Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll is in the barrier. You just can't excuse that. Why would you have such a massive correction in the middle of the corner? It's chucked him in the barrier, and he's lost his wing. Norris has gone through for P9, or he will in just a second, and that's allowing us to run away with P8 now in this race. Someone else made a pit stop, and now we're on target for 4 points in our first race in this new season of career mode. Wouldn't that be a good start to proceedings? Slowest car, and we're in the top 10 at this stage. Mark Webber showed the potential of this car in practice, in qualifying, in the race. A bit unlucky. I think he got some front wing damage himself early on in this race, and he's been trying to claw his way back ever since. There goes Norris around the outside. That's super late for us. Pretty much falling off the racetrack there. Norris gets us up the inside, and I think he will get the position this time. No, he leaves the door open as we head into the second last corner. Turns in on us just to make up for leaving the door open. We're on the grass. We're carted wide. Norris goes through for P8. Here comes Piastri out of nowhere after Lance Stroll made his pit stop. And Piastri is going to make this 3 wide as we head down the start-finish straight with only a handful of laps to go in this Australian Grand Prix. We do hold on to P8 in this race, but Piastri goes falling down the order, getting overtaken by his Williams teammate. What a Grand Prix this is turning into. This is the last lap of the Grand Prix as well. In the end, Piastri has managed to hold on to P10. And let's hope for his sake, for Williams' sake, they can get that final points-paying position. We've got Lando Norris, who's been pressurizing us for the last 10 laps, really pushing hard to get past us in that Ferrari, but somehow has been unable to get the move done at a crucial part of the circuit. He did get us, but then we repassed him in that 3 wide moment with Piastri. Half a lap to go in this race, and Norris, he's got to take his chance now. We're going to defend the inside, as we always have at this corner. Brakes super late, hopefully not too late, which puts us in the gravel and the grass. Thankfully, we do manage to avoid that on this occasion. And here, we have Sergio Perez, newly signed to Mercedes, his first race for Mercedes, and he wins the Australian Grand Prix from his former teammate, Max Verstappen. He must be absolutely loving life, is Sergio Perez. Left Red Bull, and now he's absolutely flourishing. Anyway, Go Tiffy trying to overtake his new Australian teammate. He'll have the inside for the next left-hander into the second last corner. Thinks better of it. Best to avoid a collision with only 2 corners to go when you're on target for points. Williams will get a point, but so will Marduk Motorsport in Season 2.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
Oh, I'm out of breath. What a race. 4 points, and points for Oscar as well. Maybe the curse is lifted.
Another superb Australian Grand Prix comes to an end then, and it's a thoroughly deserved victory. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I really feel the track layout, combined with the track temperatures we saw today, suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
Well, there we go. Sergio Perez is a race winner in his new team. Max Verstappen coming home in P2 there, really close to getting the win there in that Red Bull. So they are as well a team that shouldn't be underestimated in this season of career mode. Ferrari, what happened to Ferrari? They won the drivers. They won the constructors in season 1. They turn up to Australia and they're at the back. I just don't understand. They couldn't get through the field. Norris couldn't overtake me, which certainly didn't help things. But they shouldn't have been behind me in the first place. That is really confusing. Fernando Alonso, shout out to him in the McLaren. Newly switched to that team as well, getting a podium. P8 for us, and maybe, just maybe, the curse of the Australian Grand Prix for Australian drivers is lifted. We have 2 of us in the points, myself and Oscar Piastri. We couldn't have expected a miracle there. We don't have a race-winning car. Neither of the Australians have a race or podium contending car. This was a very big result for the homeboys, it must be said. Mark Webber showed the pace this weekend, but was unable to deliver on race day. I don't know what happened to Daniel Ricciardo. He was way down the order. Perhaps having an unscheduled stop there with some damage potentially. But regardless, no points for either of those guys. P4, no, 4 points, and P6 in the Constructors standings. We need 3rd place in the Constructors to get the end of season bonus, which will be awfully difficult, but it may not be impossible. With the promise that Mark Webber showed in that race with this car, we could be on for big things in this season of career mode. We need to get those major air upgrades on for Imola. We need to continue development in the chassis and in the engine side to really make sure we can attack positions. We need more straight line speed. Once we have that, then overtaking and defending should come a lot easier for us. And I just about held on to the track there. That was pretty nuts. But regardless, that has been this Grand Prix for today, guys. The Australian Grand Prix, first race of season 2. Absolutely crazy race. Hopefully it was worth the wait. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you need to see plenty more racing game content. Let me know where you think we're going to finish by the end of this season. It's an awfully close field from first to last. We can literally end up anywhere, and that is very exciting. Anyway, enough waffle. We head to Imola next for the next Grand Prix, and we're going to have some big upgrades on the way for that race. So the performance index could change quite drastically even in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you if you've made it all the way to the end of this 48-minute video. If you have, comment crikey in the comments and I'll know that you made it. Anyway, I'll try and get out the next episode of Career Mode as soon as I can. Might be tomorrow, might be the next day. We'll have to wait and see. But thank you guys so much for watching. Until the next one, I'll see you next time.